Al Snow is backstage talking to someone in the toilet. Steve Blackman asks him what he's up to and then tells him not to do anything silly in their match tonight. This was all part of Al Snow trying to make Head Cheese, the Al Snow and Steve Blackman tag team, marketable, and Steve Blackman wanted to focus on the in-ring. That leads to the next match, which is TNA, which is Test and Albert against Head Cheese, Al Snow and Steve Blackman. It's a 7-minute contest, and it ends when Test hits the top rope elbow for the win on Steve Blackman. After the match, Al Snow and Steve Blackman destroy old Chester McCheeserton, which is Al Snow's surprise for Steve Blackman, which is a little person dressed up in a wedge of cheese. Yeah, I don't know. Matt, I assume you loved it.
Oh, God. I had a funny feeling you were going to come to me first on that then. The end bit where Al Snow and Steve Blackman beat the shit out of the block of cheese, which is a sentence I never thought would come out of my mouth. Surely that makes them the heels because the crowd loved the block of cheese, which they bring this mascot out and they kick the shit out of him. What was the point? Anyway, yeah, the only reason you should watch this match is to see Trish Stratus.
The cheese guy was in the toilet and apparently really stank. It's a very important detail that we missed. TNA's music was so bad, like so generic, so absolutely nothing. And also, it sounded like JR was mildly electrocuted on commentary during this, while Lawler was just
yeah. His headset kept going.
It was so awful. This match was so bad, terrible work, devoid of crowd interest. And as you said, Matt, killing the cheese guy, how does that make them baby faces?
Actually, I hated the bit where they beat up the cheese too. But I thought about it when you were talking. I wonder whether they were attempting to make them heels because they were just a silly comedy act prior to this. And I wonder whether or not this was their attempt to turn Al Snow and Steve Blackman into a proper, serious heel tag team. I don't think it was, but I wonder whether or not that might have been the original idea and then they maybe just gave up on it at some point because it would have made some sense. They're not doing anything else with Al Snow for certain and probably for Steve Blackman either. So let's turn this silly tag team, which is a one-note comedy act, into something worthwhile maybe. But I don't think it materialized into anything afterwards anyway, so that's probably wrong. Terrible match. Another worthless tag team match on this show. The less said about it, the better. We've already said far more than we should have done.